Good afternoon and welcome to the Embedded Executive Podcast. My name is Rich Nass. I am the Executive Vice President of Open Systems Media. I lead the content team for embedded computing design. This week, my special guest is Shantanu, and I said that wrong, I'm sorry, Bolero, and he is the Vice President of Bluetooth products for Infineon. How are you today? And tell me how badly I messed up your name.
Hi, Rich. I'm great. Glad to be here and looking
Good.
forward to having a good conversation.
Absolutely. So this is actually going to be an interesting conversation because you're going to tell me why this is significant. We're talking about a technology that's, boy, how old is Bluetooth? I'm going to take a guess. You probably know the answer, but I'm going to say that Bluetooth has been around for 18 years. Am I right?
Close enough. Bluetooth's been around 25 years. So Bluetooth just completed 25 years last year.
Wow.
Believe it or
Okay.
not, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are both 25-year-olds now.
See, now I would have said that Bluetooth was older than Wi-Fi, and they came around at the same time, you're saying?
Yeah, just a year apart.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. All right. So what could possibly be new with Bluetooth with a technology that's 25 years old?
Right. That's a very good question. If you look at Bluetooth and the way it's evolved over time, it started from consumer use cases on replacing wires. So think about headphones or earphones. Uh, and that was really the initial start. But it is moving more and more into new consumer use cases, making smart devices. So smart sensors for thermostats. It's moving into locationing, which is door access. It's also moving into use cases outside of consumer, industrial, and automotive. So if you think about what's been driving it, Bluetooth keeps adding new features, typically at a cadence of every 2 years. Those new features unlock new use cases. For example, we'll start seeing with the very long range that industrial cases which used wires. So the same wired to wireless transition in consumer will also start happening in industrial use cases like solar farms. And it's going to make our cars a lot more smarter. So think about entering a car with phone as a key. You don't have to do anything. You just enter the car or enter your home with, using again phone as a key.
Okay, let me interrupt you there because you talked about a lot of stuff and I got a bunch of questions based on that, and then I'll let you get back to it. Very long range, what does that mean?
So very long range can mean a lot of things in different scenarios. So if you look at the new products that we released and that we announced earlier this week, we can do a range of up to 5 kilometers for line of sight. So it was between Newport Beach to Huntington Beach using an external power amplifier.
Hold
Or
on. 5 kilometers?
yeah, it's pretty surprising. It's lower data rate, what is called coded PHY, and it uses an external power amplifier. And this is ideal use case. It's straight line of sight. There's not much noise around. But if you take usual use cases, say in a warehouse, we are able to cover almost 1,000 square foot warehouse. So you can think of autonomous robots moving in a warehouse. They're all connected with Bluetooth. They can all do it in a single hop. Uh, or it can cover a whole office. So we've shown tests where we basically, Wi-Fi used to say whole home coverage. With Bluetooth now, you can say whole warehouse coverage or whole office coverage.
But in applications like these where power is not an issue, why would you want to use Bluetooth over Wi-Fi?
So it depends on many reasons. One is, in this case, if such high throughput is not needed, Bluetooth can actually do longer range because they're doing a trade-off with coded PHY where the throughput is very low. So we're talking 125 kbps, right? 500 kbps. We're talking about very low throughput, but very long range. So if you're doing some kind of switch on off, or you're taking small amounts of data, then Bluetooth may be better suited than Wi-Fi. due to longer range.
Okay, so you're talking to a guy who runs just about every network conceivable in his house. These are all things that I use LoRa for. Why wouldn't I use LoRa for these things that you're referring to?
You could, right? Like, so LoRa can do even longer ranges, but it is also not as standardized as Bluetooth, right? Like, so you could buy Bluetooth from various suppliers, you can mix and match the network. The number of developers who can develop using Bluetooth is pretty high. So you also got a very wide ecosystem.
And is it completely backward compatible? Am I still using my phone in that same industrial setting that you have these other devices?
Not quite. So in the sense that long range has been a feature since 5.0 spec. Right now we're talking about 5.4 version of the spec. Not all of the phones support long range, but if you do Bluetooth on the gateway and Bluetooth in the end nodes, then you can do it all.
Okay, is there an upcoming version of spec that makes it everything forward and backward compatible, or is that not going to happen?
So everything starting 5.0 will support this feature, right? Like, so all the new versions support it, but then whether the phones support it is an open question, right? Because that's decided by the phone ecosystem.
Okay, what version am I running on my iPhone? Do you know the answer to that?
So typically phones will run the latest version. They'll run 5.4. Typically it's some kind of firmware update that it will do. The latest version on 5.4, like I mentioned, on industrial use cases, can support star networks, like the networks you talked about in your home, but these can support very high number of nodes.
Right.
So think about electronic shelf labels in a store, right? A big box store running 20,000 end nodes, right? Like that's a pretty mind-boggling number, right? 20,000 nodes, but that's what it's designed to do.
Okay, all right. And what's Infineon doing in this space?
So Infineon's doing a bunch of interesting things. One is we have the latest features, so we can support new use cases. We have the longest range in the industry, and that's the various data points I mentioned. We're also doing a lot of application level software, which will enable to unlock these use cases, whether in automotive, where Infineon is a leading automotive semiconductor supplier, or new use cases in industrial, or even doing reimagining things for consumer. So think about audio. Now we can do LE audio or Auracast, which can have broadcast streams in, say, an auditorium, and we can do a microphone like the microphone I'm using, which is using Auracast that streams to speakers. So there are new use cases, like I said, which always keep coming up, and we want to support those all, and we want to help unlock new use cases.
Okay, what about multi-protocol devices?
So this current product family that we are doing does not support multi-protocol, but going forward, and we'll announce those in the next year or so, we will start supporting multi-protocol. So Bluetooth LE plus 15.4. So you can start thinking of Bluetooth LE for provisioning and 15.4 for smartphone and so on. But the current product family very much focused on Bluetooth LE.
What's the negative perception? What's a reason that a developer says, nah, I'm not going to use Bluetooth, that may or may not be accurate?
Right. I think some perceptions are developers may not know that it can do long range, or that they may not know, for example, if they come from a 15.4 background, they may not know that there is now a star network type of facility or capability in Bluetooth that they could use. So they may be coming from a 15.4 or a LoRa or a sub-gigahertz background, and they may not know all the new stuff that Bluetooth has to offer.
Okay. And on the power side, are those perceptions gone? I would think people get that Bluetooth is very low power.
Yeah, I think people get that Bluetooth is very low power. And they also get that it is becoming low power over time as well. But it is absolutely very low power. There are devices out there that run for 5 to 10 years on battery, depending on the use case.
5 to 10 years.
Yes, yes.
That's a pretty long time.
It is pretty long time, but it's again use case dependent, right? Like if you're waking up the radio and talking all the time, then it won't run that long. In fact, you can have wearables like, I see you wearing a wearable, which can run up to 10 days of battery life, right? Of course, it's not a high-end smartwatch where, you're texting and doing calls, but yeah, wearables can run up to 10 days.
Put in a plug for my watch. I use this watch for everything. It has all my music. I use it as a GPS when I'm playing golf. I get more than a week out of my watch. I won't name the brand, but I'm
Right.
I'm really happy with my watch.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's an impressive, battery life. And then just like you said, while playing golf and, just more around health and smart health. I think Bluetooth is going to unlock use cases beyond wearables and beyond continuous glucose monitoring. So for example, there will be patches which will say measure lactate, or patches which will give a drug-free treatment. So there is already a patch out there in the market for migraine treatment, where it does like sub-threshold pain impulses, and that can basically enable patients to manage their migraine without taking drugs. And I think we'll see more such creativity. You combine a basic technology building block like Bluetooth and creativity of developers, and I think new cases will come up.
Very good. Very interesting stuff. This is a technology that I really enjoyed talking about. So I certainly thank you for your time.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for your time, and thanks for the interesting discussion.
Absolutely. That was Shantanu Bolero. He is the Vice President of Bluetooth Products with Infineon, and I'm Rich Nass with Open Systems Media.